Welcome back. The last 7 days have seen the political machinery here at Holyrood firing back up after a break during the election campaign. Here are some of the highlights from a week in which we've seen the voting in of a new presiding officer, the same First Minister and a rejigged government cabinet. We start our roundup with a look at last Thursday when MSPs took their oaths and affirmations.
I, John Ramsay Swinney.
I, Malcolm Offord.
I, Anas Sarwar.
I, Ross John Greer.
I, Gillian Audrey Mackay.
I, Russell Findlay.
I, Alex Cole Hamilton.
Do swear that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
To His Majesty King Charles.
His heirs and successors.
According to law.
According to law.
According to law.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I call Joe Fagan, South Scotland. I call Callum Kerr, Midlothian South, Tweeddale and Lauderdale. David Kirkwood, South Scotland. I call Craig Hoy, Dumfriesshire. Jamie Langan, South Scotland.
I, Finlay Hamilton Carson.
I, Duncan Angus Melville Dunlop.
I, Senga Beresford.
I, Caroline Mokin.
I, Laura Moody.
I, Rachel Hamilton.
Do solemnly, sincerely and truly declare and affirm
that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance
to His Majesty, King Charles, his heirs and successors, according to law.
So help me God.
So help me God.
MSPs then voted for their new presiding officer.
Of the Scottish Parliament. I now call on Kenneth Gibson as the newly elected presiding officer to take the chair for the remainder of this meeting of the Parliament.
I want to thank every one of you who participated in this process. Belated congratulations, if I haven't spoken to you already, about winning your election. And thanks to all those who voted for me through thick and thin. It has been quite a stressful afternoon, as you can imagine. But I'm looking forward to working with every single person in this chamber to take this Parliament forward. I think there's so much more we can be as a Parliament than we have been in the past, and I'm certainly going to do my utmost to work with you in taking us forward.
This Tuesday, MSPs decided who should become First Minister. It was never going to be a competitive vote, given the SNP was the largest party by a long way. But all of the leaders threw their hats into the ring, delivering their speeches with a dash of humour.
Presiding Officer, I rise to speak to my candidacy for First Minister of Scotland in an atmosphere rather of hope more than expectation, because elections are a time of choosing. This no different than the last. But the last Scottish election that we have been through was in itself a time of choosing. It was an inflection point at which all of us are offered our instructions by the people who send us to this place. And it also represented the final spoke on the wheel of revival for my party. I'm heartily glad of that, coming as it did after the best general election result for our party in 100 years. Big council gains across the chamber. The Scottish elections last week represented a massive leap forward for the Scottish Liberal Democrats, both in terms of vote share and in terms of the number of seats returned. When looking at the constituency map of Scotland, presiding officer, we are the second party of Scotland. We've won in places that we have never, ever won before, and we have taken a massive leap forward and the best result for my party in nearly 20 years. And the measure of that achievement, I think, was summed up well by the Times when they wrote, and I quote, that in the final analysis, it was the Liberal Democrats who perhaps did more than any other party to thwart the nationalist march to 65 seats. Don't take it from me. This is the story of this election, presiding officer. As much as I respect John Swinney, he has only known regression in his time as party leader of the SNP. He has only gone backwards in his efforts and experienced electoral decline. And as the old Parliament rose and we were gavelled out of session, he could not have been clearer. He stated for the whole country to hear that if he was to achieve the mandate necessary to go about calling for a second independence referendum, then he needed the public at large to award his party with an overall majority. He fell well short of that. And in large part, it was because of Liberal Democrat gains in the villages and towns of this country he was rendered unable to deliver what he asked the people to give him. As such, I ask that we as a Parliament now lay those divisive issues aside, that we put talk of the Constitution in the deep freeze and instead focus on the instructions that the people who sent us to this place have been manifestly clear that they want us to focus on.
OK, congratulations on your election. I suspect today's proceedings won't be quite as exciting because, of course, this is largely a foregone conclusion. But I've put my name forward because it gives me the opportunity to put forward my vision for a better Scotland, for a Scottish Parliament that works on behalf of the people who put us here. John Swinney spent the entire election saying that he was going to win, and with a majority. And he said that winning a majority would be the trigger for another independence referendum. His relentless obsession with breaking up the United Kingdom is not what people want to hear. We know what matters most to the people of Scotland: the ever-rising cost of living, Scotland's stagnant economy, an NHS in a near-permanent state of crisis, the impact of immigration on strained public services. What they don't want is a distracting and painful return to the arguments of the past. Thankfully, John Swinney didn't get the majority he said was in the bag, and my party played its part in stopping him. The blue wall stayed blue as we won a hat-trick of seats across the south of Scotland. However, I was bitterly disappointed to lose so many valuable and respected colleagues in my party and beyond. And this is a very different Parliament to the one that came before. And when John Swinney is inevitably elected as First Minister today, he has some big questions to answer. We all have a duty to act in the best interests of the people of Scotland. This Parliament has an opportunity to transform Scotland over the next 5 years. A more dynamic and more prosperous Scotland should be our shared goal. A country of opportunity with more well-paid jobs, of lower taxes and less red tape, where hard work and aspiration are rewarded. So let's harness our proud spirit of innovation to get Scotland working again. Thank you.
Thanks, Presiding Officer, and could I congratulate you on your appointment. Firstly, I want to acknowledge that unless something dramatic happens, I should get 15 votes, and I doubt I'll be First Minister this afternoon. But despite that, there is something to be hopeful about. The electorate has returned not only the biggest ever independence supporting majority, but also the biggest ever majority for parties that are socially progressive. Those who lost in numbers at this election were the ones chasing those votes to the right, and that has to inform what we do this session. We acknowledge that the SNP won this election and should have the right to form a government, and we will work on issues with them to make Scotland a fairer, greener and independent country. But we'll also hold that government to account to make sure that ambition matches delivery. We want to see a debate in the future of Scotland as an independent nation, and I hope the First Minister will keep his promise to bring that forward as soon as possible. We've seen how badly Westminster has let Scotland down, making things much more difficult, not just for this Parliament, but for the people of Scotland. We were promised big things in the wake of 2014, but what followed was Brexit, a decade of Westminster failure, a merry-go-round of Prime Ministers, and ongoing climate breakdown. People's lives have gotten materially worse, and Scotland must have our chance to choose differently.
Presiding Officer, welcome to your place and congratulations on your appointment. When I went down to London as a young Scot to make something of myself, with just one suitcase, my rugby boots and £2,000 in debt, I went with true treasure. I was a product of the very best of Scottish education provided freely by the state. And I went with these most valuable of treasures, Scottish values of hard work, endeavour and honesty. I do not want to see young Scots have to go to London to make the fortune as I and many others did. I want them to have ample opportunities to stay in Scotland and prosper. But regardless of how they make their way in the world, I want them to go with the same true treasure, the true wealth that I was given. The kind of state education that Scotland gave me is lamentably rare today. too often having to be bought, whether through paying for a private education or by buying a house in the right state school catchment area. Allowing standards and disciplines to so drastically slip as the SNP has in pursuit of ideological fads has been to undermine the wealth and opportunity of young Scots. Real life is about incentives, and canny Scots will always work hard if you incentivise them, but not in a broken system of high taxation and welfare dependency that scarcely makes it worthwhile. Meanwhile, these inherently Scottish values of hard work, endeavour and honesty are being actively discouraged by this rotten system at every turn, with grievance and envy stoked in their place. If we want a Scotland of endeavour and enterprise, if we want Scots to enjoy prosperity and plenty, we must urgently, urgently change course. Surely all the proof we need that this current system is broken lies in the fact that 2 million Scots did not vote in this 2026 election, a staggering 47% of the electorate. Compare that to 16% non-voters in the 2014 Indie Ref. The incumbent parties in this chamber should take a good, hard look at themselves. Scotland deserves a First Minister who wishes to build opportunity and prosperity for every Scot, and the only party in this chamber with that agenda is Reform UK.
Thank you. I congratulate you on your election. I rise to make this speech in the knowledge that we already know the outcome of today's vote. I congratulate John Swinney and the SNP on their election win on May the 7th. My party fought the election on the belief that Scotland needs change. It's an election and an argument that we didn't win. That's disappointing, and I don't pretend otherwise, but I think it's important to convey what I still believe today. Our politics, our parliament and our country does need to change, and we have a collective responsibility to represent and serve the people. And in the current climate, I believe we have a responsibility to bring our country together and to take on the politics of fear and blame. Because while the election result is settled, the challenges facing Scotland are not. The need to tackle deep-seated issues in Scottish society remain as urgent today, and this Parliament must rise to that challenge. We need a government that will focus relentlessly on the things that matter: growing our economy, supporting our high streets, driving down waiting lists, improving access to primary care, providing dignity in the delivery of social care, making life more affordable, giving every young person the chance to succeed, and supporting our communities to feel safer and stronger. In doing that, we must also recognise the mood in the country as it is, not as we might wish it to be. During this election campaign, one word came up again and again: scunnered. People are frustrated, angry and tired, and they're tired of political arguments that seem disconnected from their lives. And that should concern every single one of us. Because if people lose faith not only in one party or one government, but in the ability of politics itself to improve their lives, then that not only undermines our democracy, but it opens up opportunities for those that seek to divide us. Presiding Officer, half of the MSPs in this chamber have been elected to our Parliament for the first time. This is a historic opportunity for them and for all of us, for us to demonstrate either the best of Scotland or the worst of our politics, to change the culture positively or negatively, to achieve greater cooperation or greater conflict, to trade in bigger ideas or bigger insults. So I would say to the new members and the old, let's not miss this opportunity to do what's best and right for Scotland. That means confronting the politics of fear and blame, not inflaming it.
President, so let me begin by congratulating you on your election as our presiding officer. As we begin this new session of the Scottish Parliament, I stand before members today with a clear mandate from the people of Scotland to seek nomination as the First Minister. The election is over, the people have spoken, they have emphatically supported the Scottish National Party, and I offer to form a government to deliver on behalf of the people that we all serve. Not cautiously, not hesitantly, but with purpose, on the issues that matter most in the lives of our people. That is exactly what a government I lead will do. The challenges facing our nation are real. Families continue to feel the pressure of the cost of living. Public services continue to face significant demands. Events in Westminster and across the world continue to impact here at home, and many people are feeling the strain in their everyday lives. So this must be a Parliament and a government that meets the moment, not with incremental change, but with a clear sense of direction and an agenda that matches the ambition people have for this country. Because Scotland is a country of enormous strength and opportunity, a country with the talent, the resources and the determination, not only to react to challenges, but to overcome them. The government I lead will work to build a Scotland where families are supported through the cost of living crisis and where the pressures they face are eased, not ignored. A Scotland with a strong modern National Health Service that is accessible, resilient and there for the people when they need it. A Scotland where businesses grow, good jobs are created and economic opportunity exists in every part of our country. The government I lead will also press for the future of Scotland to be decided by the people of Scotland. The people have again returned a pro-independence majority to this Parliament, the largest ever elected. They have said with a resounding voice that decisions about Scotland's future should be taken here in Scotland. And I will ensure that the people have the right to decide on their own future. That is the agenda I offer the people of Scotland. It is ambitious, it is practical, it is ready to be delivered in this new Parliament with a new mandate and a government determined to get on with the job. Presiding Officer, with the mandate we have been given, with a clear plan for the work ahead and with a determination to deliver for the people of Scotland, I ask for the support of this Parliament to serve as Scotland's First Minister.
Thank you, and I thank each of our 6 candidates. They were all very well behaved, none of them over time, and I hope that will be a lesson to all of you in this chamber as we move forward. 105 votes were cast, and as John Swinney has secured more than half of all the votes cast, I declare that he is now the First Minister of Scotland, and I'd like to congratulate him. I now call on Scotland's new First Minister, John Swinney.
Presiding Officer, it's a profound honour to accept Parliament's nomination for the office of First Minister. At the dawn of the 7th session of the Scottish Parliament, I am now one of only 4 members from the original class of '99, and of course you also, Presiding Officer, are one of that class. From that vantage point, let me offer this reflection to the many new members. This is a very exciting time in any Parliament. All of us rightly feel the privilege of having been chosen by the people of Scotland to represent them. And we are all full of anticipation for the exciting journey that lies ahead. But it will not be long before we have to return to the people to explain to them what we have done for them. And if there is one thing I have learned over my years in public service, it is this. When the 5-year term ends, it is those who can look their constituents in the eye and say they have achieved things for them who win re-election. All too often in parliaments, I've watched members celebrate when bold proposals are blocked, seemingly for political expediency rather than for any substantial concerns. There was a time when even I thought that negative politics worked into the bargain. But I'm standing here today having won a resounding mandate from the people of Scotland, because in this election, my party offered a vision of hope, ambition and optimism. And by electing a parliament of minorities, the people have given us a specific instruction to work together. Voters value cooperation among their politicians. They want to see more of it. And in this parliament, I will work to see more of it too. Presiding Officer, I gratefully accept the opportunity to serve as First Minister. It is the greatest privilege of my life, and I promise to work every day to repay the trust that the people of Scotland have placed in me.
On Wednesday morning, John Swinney was sworn in as First Minister at the Court of Session in Edinburgh.
Mr Swinney, will you make the oaths of office? First, the official oath. You swear that you will well and truly serve His Majesty, King Charles, in the office of First Minister of the Scottish Government, so help you God.
The First Minister then unveiled a slimmed-down cabinet of 8 ministers to sit alongside him.
I'm delighted to have appointed the cabinet today who will be working very hard to deliver on the government's priorities and to make sure that we are addressing the needs and the concerns of the people of Scotland. We were elected with a resounding mandate to ensure that we take effective action to tackle the cost of living challenges that are faced by members of the public, to ensure that we continue the improvements in our public services, especially the National Health Service, to grow and to build and to put dynamism into the Scottish economy, and to make sure that Scotland's future is in Scotland's hands. And that's exactly what the government is going to concentrate on doing.
Today, the Cabinet Secretaries and junior ministers were officially appointed here at Holyrood.
President Officer, I move the motions in my name that Stephen Flynn and Ivan McKee be appointed as Scottish Ministers, and that Stephen Gethins, Hannah Mary Goodlad, Jamie Hepburn, Sumita Kumar, Kirsten Oswald and Alison Thewlis be appointed as Scottish Junior Ministers. Presiding Officer, all of these ministers, like me, are ready to get to work, to deliver and to make the change the people in our society want and need and expect to see. I therefore ask Parliament to approve the appointments today.
The Scottish Conservatives consistently pointed out throughout the election campaign that the SNP sums just don't add up. But now we've got a Minister for Cuts, or perhaps more appropriately, as he might be known throughout time, Ivan the Terrible, inflicting fear across government departments as he bursts through the door, swinging an axe, looking for cuts in every nook and cranny he can possibly find. The Nationalists have promised more spending without saying where that money is coming from.
Angela Constance is our new Health Secretary. Congratulations to Angela Constance. A more important job it's hard to imagine. As Justice Secretary, of course, Angela Constance released hundreds of prisoners onto the streets early to tackle overcrowding in our prisons, and I wonder if she'll adopt the same tactic to tackle delayed discharge. But when it comes to ambition, few can match Scotland's new Economy, Transport and Tourism Secretary, Stephen Flynn. We all saw Mr Flynn struggle to get into Butte House yesterday, perhaps a sign of things to come. But don't worry, First Minister, Mr Flynn has said he's right behind you. A statement of support or a threat, people can draw their own conclusions.
We won't oppose for the sake of opposing. Oh, I've seemed to have upset people. We won't challenge for the sake of challenging, but unlike those other parties in opposition, we won't remain silent either. Reform is not in this chamber to make pals with the cosy establishment. We are here to oppose you. We are here to be the voice for Scotland's forgotten communities, the length and breadth of this country, who each and every one of you have failed and left behind. Those are the people who sent us here, and those are who we will fight for in this Parliament.
I want this government to stand up to the challenge, to take on the mantle of the 2030 targets that they set for themselves, and to confidently in 4 years say that they have succeeded. I want that more than I can say. The legacy of a particular government or minister can last until the next election, or it can last for generations. I ask each and every one of the ministers who has been appointed today to think for the long term. Build a sustainable and fair Scotland, and be bold.
So we are frankly quite jealous, and it's hard to see people move on. But as much as we feel that, I can see the excitement in their faces, and that's a joy to see. And there are a few I want to pick out. First is my neighbour, Jenny Gilruth, who I've shadowed on education for some years, a fellow Fifer. Her mother is a constituent who I think secretly votes for me. Jenny keeps denying it, but I think it's true.
As the Parliament has agreed to this motion, the First Minister's recommendations will now be sent to His Majesty to approve the appointments. I therefore close this meeting of Parliament.
And that's all from us for tonight and for this week. We'll be back at the normal time on Tuesday, but for now, thanks for watching and good night.